Hello. Happy Sunday, everybody. It is October 24th. This is your Sunday submission for MMANews.com. I am Edward Carbajal. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at Carbazel. And make sure you check out MMANews.com for your mixed martial arts news and results, which we are going to go over today. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure you click the thumbs up, bell notification for future videos that we do. We do got a lot of interviews and good content like this on there. If you want to know who we have recently, the Canadian God just got Volkan Ozdemir and Sean Brady. So those interviews are up on the YouTube channel where this video lives. I stream this on my Twitter when I first do it. So again, that's why I put my Twitter handle up there. So first, some housekeeping. No Sunday submission happened last Sunday because I had to celebrate some annual life events that require a lot of alcohol. And that's why there was no Sunday submission for last weekend. But so we've got a lot to talk about this Sunday, especially with two Bellator events in the back behind us, and excuse me, and two UFC Vegas events that went by that were somewhat, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say like controversial, but I mean it seems like they weren't the best cards. Well, one of them wasn't the best card, so I'm probably not even talking about it that much because I'd rather focus on the positive. And then what's the other thing? The whole thing, something is bothering me a lot, and we'll use that to segue into what would just happened this past weekend. So something's bothering me, as an old head mixed martial arts fan. Fedor Emelianenko fought yesterday, and as much as people like to throw older fighters under the bus, when some folks do and accomplish what fighters like Fedor, and when you look at fighters like Fedor, Khabib, legendary fighters that continue to fight, it's a double-edged sword. You get, part of you wants them to retire, of course, for their safety and their health, because they've given us a lot of enjoyment and fun in the game. But if they still want to do it, man, like, you can't really argue with them either. This is showing off nicely. I took a knee to the head myself yesterday, and that's the result of it. But anyway, so the Paulo Costa, Marvin Vettori weight change, booking, whatever you want to call it, for the majority of mixed martial arts fans, it seemed to overshadow the fact that we had one of the greatest heavyweights that have fought in as long as MMA's been around, the near 30 years of MMA that we've had. It was kind of overshadowed by this whole nonsense with Vettori and Costa. Like, I know Paulo Costa came out afterward and said he had his reasons for not being able to make weight. We never know what they're going through. These, they are human beings, fighters. Not everybody has it as easy, but I know it comes down to choices and professionalism and stuff like that. So, and they did, and the main event did deliver at UFC Vegas 41. So, but Dana White looks like he wants to keep Paulo Costa at 205, and from what I saw on the chatter afterwards, it looks like his manager, the Waleed Ismail, is going to try to still have him at middleweight. It is what it is. It's very I don't know what to say. I mean, we were talking about it where I took this knee with my training partners. We were talking about it, and we even said, like, well, why didn't they just cancel or change or whatever? But with the money that the UFC makes with ESPN canceling events, we're not going to see events get canceled unless the another peak pandemic situation happens. I mean, we're not going to see them cancel anything. If anything, they'll just shuffle a card around. You'll get a 2-fight card if it's at this point, if they can still hold on an event. But we'll circle back to that. But so the thing that's bothering me is about Fedor fought yesterday. I feel like it wasn't getting the buzz that it got. I mean, these early cards, I know college football and baseball and all that stuff is going on, so networks like ESPN are going to prioritize it. I mean, TNT has pushed AEW Dynamite to Saturday for God's sakes because of hockey or whatever they're showing there. So, and I'm joking, but we're gonna the fall. I'm realizing is it's a rough time for fight fans, MMA fans in particular, because boxing will still get their prime time Saturday night. If they like the stuff that happened last night with Stevenson and what have you. So, but I was just a little bit bothered by that. I mean, I didn't get to do, but again, the stuff that I did last weekend kind of messed up my whole week, and I had a couple of deadlines to get done. But I feel like the Fedor Emelianenko's return, he hadn't fought since December 2019. Yesterday, not only did he make his return to action on his retirement tour, but he got to do it in his native country in Moscow, in Russia, and fought Tim Johnson, knocked him out. So we do have the live highlight. I'll share that page in a bit, but I wanted to bring up the one that I can show on this YouTube channel. Oh, because there's no sound on it off of what's on Twitter. So let me show you the finish from Bellator 268 right here. 269 rather. My bad. Bellator 269. That's the finish. That's actually, oh yeah, no, that's the whole finish. So if you watch it, they actually replayed it this morning. I watched it again this morning before I started playing it. Man, what are we what are we doing here as MMA fans? Like, this is one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, and he finished the number 2 ranked Bellator heavyweight. So that when they do their rankings, it was on Saturday, so the rankings will probably come out this coming Wednesday. He's going to be ranked at number 2, but the question was posed a lot of times. I mean, he's one of the few guys that can fight with their hands down here, and I mean, he's been dropped lately in the latter part of his career because of it. But Jesus, when you heard those, like, it's that right hand that kind of shook Johnson, and then he clips him with the left, like, shovel hook on the chin, and then another right hand that just shakes the skull. And what you don't see there, if you rewatch the fight with the replay afterwards, usually when something like that happens, you'll see a fighter kind of spring back up, and if the referee steps in and stops it, they'll dispute the stoppage, whatever. But what you don't see in this GIF highlight that Bellator put up on their social is Johnson laying there and feeling the power of those shots, and he takes his mouthpiece out and he shakes his head. He's like, "No, I'm not getting back up. Like, this fight is over, and I'm not disputing it." So that's one of the things that literally had me, what's the word I'm looking for? I was just floored by it. I mean, I haven't seen Fedor, when you've been watching Fedor the way that I've been watching those fights, as a longtime mixed martial arts fan, combat sports fan, I was just like, I haven't had a reaction. I rarely have emotional, loud reactions like the way sports fans do. But I guess because of the nostalgia and just seeing another Fedor knockout, I was, on my feet in my apartment watching that and just yelling like, "Oh my God!" Texting the guy I do, Matt Hawkins. Shout out Matt, who's went to the BKFC event last night. But I was just, the fact that he's at 45 years old and still able to drop dudes like that, I don't know what it is. I mean, because the thing is that at that age, that's why he gets finished more. So when you see him lose, it's concerning. But when you see him win in the fashion that you've seen him win, what would they say was the stats were like 32 fights and 32 wins in like a 10-year period or something crazy like that. It's just as an old school somebody that watched all of Pride, literally have a box right over there with almost the entire Pride catalog in it on DVD. So I I I'm looking forward to it. If he doesn't, I'm completely fine if Fedor wants to retire. Like, you want to hang it up, dude, you know, by all means go right ahead. People talking about the dad bod champions, you know, because you got Tyson Fury, Daniel Cormier, Fedor Emelianenko. It's just something to behold for sure. Um, this is an odd. Oh, I'm looking at I saw the Gallagher versus Mix. They're advertising, but showing the stats. I didn't notice that when I was watching it, but this was so we have some of the highlights up at MMANews.com. I really like this takedown here. I can't play the finish, but it's again the link is on. I'll drop the link on the description, and it's on the Twitter stream right now. If you want to see Usman Nurmagomedov pick up his 14th win in the first round. So afterwards, he asked for more competition. Like he wants to face deeper competition, which you know, if anything, you can say Bellator has, of course, feds. You know, their matchmaking can sometimes help build a fighter, but when the upsets happen, if you're starting to see a pattern, as the fighter himself is going to say, give me somebody higher up or a little tougher. Um, but I think we saw Aaron Pico make that mistake early in his career because he's such a competitor. He wanted to fight the toughest guys right off the bat, and then we found that it was better for him to fight more evenly experienced guys. So 14-0 though, you're right there. I mean, Usman Nurmagomedov was right, and Khabib was in the house last night, cornering him as expected. There's actually photos all over from folks that were at the was it the VTB arena? I forget what the name of the arena. Do we have it on here? What's the name of it? It's probably not on here because I didn't write this. Yeah, VTB arena. It's on there. In Moscow. So the co-main event, I don't be surprised if we see this co-main event again with Vitaly Minakov and Said Somago. The thing about, because they asked Coker in the post-fight press conference because of how this ended. Oddly, it's funny how he's holding his hand in that picture there because he like blocked or parried a kick or something in the final round and dislocated his finger, and the fight was stopped. TKO officially. I don't think he understood what was happening because it looked like he popped it back in and he was shaking his head. Yeah, I'm ready to go. But the referee had already waved it off. And, it's weird. It's an odd stoppage. But when you look, the good thing, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but the good thing about having John McCarthy, who's a former official referee, doing commentary, was that he explained, because the injury happened due to something the opponent did, that is why it can officially be a TKO, even though, because the injury that was caused by the other guy did stop the fight. So that's why that happened. But because of how that happened, because the fight was pretty good. Actually, I mean, this is from round one, which I think was probably Minakov's best round, because after he survived that round, Soma sort of like weathered the storm and fatigued Minakov enough that it looked like he was landing some inside leg kicks and calf kicks that were looking like they were taking their toll on Minakov, which is probably why he reached down to address that kick. But yeah, I mean, it's a solid win when you look at the reasoning and stuff behind it, but the the it's not that's not something fans want to see. We don't want to see stuff like that. And that was the co-main event, and then obviously I started off talking about the main event. We have the highlight on here with the video and audio. If you want to watch Fedor's entrance, just go to MMAnews.com and check those out. I mean, he walks into like music that's equivalent to the Imperial March from Star Wars, and and the thing is, I'd love to play this for you, but I don't want to get that strike on the MMAnews.com YouTube channel. But if you could watch this clip, watching at home, and maybe it's my TV and the way I have my speakers or sound set up, but the the sound those blows made when they land on Johnson, man, that's part of what made me react like a ball bag sports fan from Jersey, which technically I am. Then they have the slow mo. This is really good for old school fans of mixed martial arts. And then of course the prelims were on Showtime Sports. It was an early card, just like the UFC, which we're gonna move into now. That this started like at noonish, and then the UFC I believe started like at 10:30. They had a really stacked card. And then the fight delivered. You can't really like knock. I mean, both guys went for it. And you know what's funny? They asked Marvin Vittori afterwards. The clip is on I forget who shared the clip of Marvin Vittori. I mean, it's on the UFC post fight press conference for the Vegas thing. But they asked Marvin Vittori about giving up his purse or whatever, and he said, "Listen, it doesn't matter. Apparently there was arguments about the percentage being taken because of the weight miss. I mean, and I guess we got to talk about it. I know I kind of hinted at it, but we have to talk about it. When you come in on Wednesday of fight week, usually, so they have it in writing somewhere where the fighters are supposed to come in, part of the safety thing for their health or whatever. The fighters are supposed to come like within 8 pounds of the weight they're supposed to make on fight week, right? Excuse me. And correct me if I'm wrong. You can drop it in the comments if I am. But pulling up the results just so we could look at them together. The other thing though is they fighters usually come in on Tuesday if it's in a Saturday event. So Wednesday they were doing media, and that's when Paulo Costa was like, I'm just flat out was like, yeah, I'm not going to make weight, so maybe they'll let us do it at a catch weight. So which is giving Vittori the signal to say, okay, maybe so then I won't cut so hard either. So they came up on even weight, a contracted scheduled middleweight bout at light heavyweight weight. And Vittori won. So it's kind of good that he won, because it was almost like sending a message out to Costa to kind of be like, it's like a weird karma win for him, because I mean his brand as a fighter grew, and Costa obviously, and people have been trolling Costa with the fat pictures and stuff on social media already. So we've got the summation of the fight here, some highlights here that I can't play because ESPN MMA will absolutely give us a copyright strike, because they're the ones that started that shit. Trying to give you some publicity, assheads. But I was happy that excuse me, Jersey weather change. I was happy to see Jessica Rose Clark picked up this win, because I know she had some injuries and stuff she had dealt with in the past. So, and this fight right here, Alex Casares versus Seung-Woo Choi. I thought he was going to lose that fight. I mean, if you saw it, I mean, and then he had a come from behind victory where he was able to secure this submission win that I wish I could play for you, because as a jiu-jitsu guy, I love submissions, but again, MMANews.com, UFC Vegas 41 results. You could click on that, watch results there. Man, great fight. Great fight for him, especially, before we move past this, I just, with Casares, they call him Bruce Leroy. I remember him when he's another guy, an alumnus that came from the Ultimate Fighter show. As somebody, I mean, there's a picture. I have a Bruce Lee picture. I'm bad at hanging shit up, but I have it in the frame. I used to have it hung up in like decades ago in an apartment. But I'm Bruce Lee is why I got into martial arts myself. So it's hard. I hate seeing Casares lose, but when he wins like this, it just goes to a testament to his dedication to the sport and his training and stuff like that. But I mean, he had a string of losses when I was, just because of his whole Bruce Lee gimmick and the tracksuit and stuff he used to walk in with. I I like it when the kid wins. You know what I mean? And Francisco Trinaldo. Somebody made a joke about Trinaldo's winning, and what is this going on here? Sorry, it's a broken up. All this broken up. What's going on here? Anyway, the decision because if he's an older fighter. But hey, listen, Fedor won at 45 yesterday, so it was a good day for old head fighters. And then this fight right here, actually an old training partner of mine cornered Jun Young Park. So kind of sad watching that guy lose because I know that they're all serious. Mike on, shout out to Mike, but it sucks when I see these what's the name of that? Because they all fought in Korea. I forget the name of the promotion. Top FC, I think it's called. But yeah, it was sad to see him lose, especially when they put in. He shares a lot of fun stuff on social media too. The guy that I know, so it was sad to see that happen. But it was definitely a highlight reel knockout for Gregory Rodriguez. So don't be surprised if they start bumping him up to the. But this card here, man. I mean, the prelims were fun. They started so early. The thing about these Saturday cards, man, I and then this is going to lead me into UFC 267 that's coming this week, this coming weekend, the next big pay-per-view. We're gonna get bombarded with some pay-per-views, man, because I think that's the all ESPN Plus one, right? Because 268 is New York City. But this 267 has the UFC going back to Abu Dhabi, and I want to bring up that card actually, because let me take this down and bring up that card for you. So I know Luke Lopez is going to give me some shit about this when he watches it. Shout out to Luke Lopez being on the journey with me for these things, but it's not going to take that long because I already got it up. But UFC 267 has them going back to Blachowicz versus Teixeira, and whoa, it's their first event back on Abu Dhabi. I mean, if you saw the news that I think MMA Junkie first reported about the this is I usually do this on Combat Hour, bring up the card from the UFC's website here. But look at this card, man. I mean, we got the return of our boy here, Hamza Chameyev versus Lee Jingling. This who's got some heavy hands, ranked. So this is going to be his first fight back after dealing with everything he dealt with COVID. And again, also we've got the interview with Volkan Ozdemir on the YouTube channel, so make sure you check that out. But we're going to see how, people talk about COVID fog and things like that. We're going to see how much of he also had a lot of time off to recover too, because we haven't, as he was making his rise up, that all happened. So this is going to be one of these under the radar fights that I think fans should keep an eye on. So, keep an eye on Hamza. Either his hype train is going to get derailed, or he's going to pick up right where he left off if he beats Jingling and insert himself to the number 11 ranked spot amongst welterweights. But talking about early cards, this is another one. I believe this starts. Look at, you can see the times right here. So the prelims, the first bell 10:30 a.m. on a Saturday. So that's I'm sure that's because of where it's happening from. Usually they try to do stuff to keep it up with giving us our primetime fights. But the thing about that is like right now, like I said, football is starting, baseball is ending, and the network that they're in business with have to prioritize with where the eyeballs are. And as much as the folks that watch this channel, myself, the people that come into this YouTube channel, the hardcore UFC fans, there's the right now the hardcore UFC fans are probably more hardcore baseball and football fans. So y'all probably don't mind this time, but I do, because normally Saturdays I'm out and about doing stuff, and I'm gonna shout out to the Canadian God again, James Lynch, who messaged me this morning and just told me about that this is not a nighttime card. This is going to be during the day for my East Coast ass. So not too happy about that, but I am happy about seeing the lovely Amanda Ribas fight. This fight, again, strawweight division. If you're not locked into it, 268 has the title fight with Rose and Wei Lee. We had a UFC Vegas, the Mackenzie Dern and Marina Rodriguez fight a couple of weeks ago, where that kind of there's something happening in strawweight, and I feel like not enough folks are paying attention to it. So this is another fight where we can see, because Jandiroba has been proving herself. I mean, this is a tough fight to call right here. I mean, I like Amanda Ribas just because of her cuteness and funniness, or whatever. But she's also a really good fighter, which is why she's ranked at number 11. But Jandiroba has been literally blowing through fighters to get to where she's at. So there's a good chance this scrap could be one of those fights that, oh man, you know, I haven't even looked at the odds. You know what's cool about it? Do they have the odds up here yet? Let's see. No, I don't see the odds on here. Since they did their DraftKings stuff, I know they normally do put the odds up, or is it on the main card only? Oh, they're not. Oh, they're going to though. See, there's just the field for the odds, so you can see what odds betting odds are up for the fighters. I guess they'll probably do that on Tuesday as well. But this main card, man, light heavyweight. I remember when Volkan Ozdemir shot up the light heavyweight ranks. Now he's ranked at number 8, so he's still kind of in there. And then Peter Yan and Corey Sandhagen. That should be a fun bantamweight fight if you like that. I mean, you know that if you follow me at all, you know that's one of my favorite weight classes. And then between Teixeira, listen, this is Teixeira's. Somebody made a joke too about people knocking the old fighters, but I mean everybody's getting excited for Teixeira versus Blachowicz. But to me, this is he's number 1 at light heavyweight, and with John Jones off dealing with his troubles, and whatever weight class he may or may not return to, this is one of those. This is like his last chance at light heavyweight, in my opinion, because he's up there in age too. And I'm not trying to disrespect or knock the guy, but as somebody that's also up there in age when it comes to combat sports, um, these guys are made of something else. But it's also they're also at a point where it's like either we're gonna make it or we're gonna hang it up. And more times than not, they don't walk out with their hand raised. They go out on their shields, which is always sad to see. But I'm interested to see. I mean, the thing about Teixeira, he's still got that power in his hands. And this fight right here, I mean, let's see if their stats. I don't have Matt Hawkins with me to correct these stats because he's usually, when I bring this up, he's usually bringing up the Tapology, which usually is more accurate than what the UFC puts up on their website. But I'm looking at these win percentages, which is why I brought it up, because I'm talking about Teixeira's power. Don't be surprised, man, if he can pull off a Fedor and drop my man's here. I mean, I know Blachowicz is kind of like the light heavyweight champ that, because of the whole John Jones situation, it's almost like he's got to justify it being the champ. But yeah, it's that's going to be an interesting main event. I hate to say it again, but it's almost as if this event is being overshadowed by UFC 268, which I don't mind because, listen, UFC 268 is the promotion's return to Madison Square Garden. I don't know how Dana White's going to handle it. I mean, he's in Vegas now. I would assume he wants to be there for 26 in Abu Dhabi. Like, are you going to go back and forth between Abu Dhabi and the United States so you could be in house for New York City? Because New York, if you've been following the NBA news with the Barclay stuff and vaccine mandates, I'm concerned for that card. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to jinx it with the last 30 seconds we have on this, but excuse me. As long as we don't lose those 2 title fights and Gaethje versus Michael Chandler, that's mainly that fight, because I think we know how the other 2 are going to go. Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler. I hope they wrap that fight in the most quarantined bubble they could think of, and just keep us from losing that fight. But that's it. That's it for me. Again, I'm sorry for missing last week, but again, do thumbs up if you like this. Click the bell notification so you can get more content like this. Because of the early card, I'll probably pre-record Saturday night for next week's Sunday submission. In the meantime, lock it in at MMANews.com for all the news and results as we go into the week. And if you like watching this live when I stream it on my Twitter handle over at Carbazel, and you can see all the other work I do with the other podcasts and all the other places I write for. Enjoy your Sunday. Stay safe and be humble.